So we're continuing our book Bismillahirrahmanirrahim من كتاب نيل المرام شرح عقيدة الإسلام من الإمام الحداد. Right, so yesterday we went into this introduction of the book. Inshallah, I hope you all have written down your intentions with regards to studying Aqidah. And this book, Aqidah, this is book Aqidah of Islam is one of the. You will say it is a book that is mutawassit. Right, so it is not basic. It's not foundational, nor is it advanced. Right, which is why I like it. I like it very much. Right, it's an amount any of information to take in. It goes into a lot of matters. MashaAllah, that's why I like it. At the same time, it does not any it's not you share wish ala tulab, right? So which means it does not get into the minds and kind of bother the student of knowledge, because there are matters in Aqidah. If you go deep into Aqidah, higher books, which I don't recommend for the common person, right? And I don't think it should be taught, right, to common people, right? Because it can really bother people. Like when you go into like really, higher texts of Aqidah, and you have to handle the diseases of the heart of all kinds of human beings out there. And there are all kinds of diseases out there, right? So it kind of like it does there's a lot of like the disturbances that might come to you when you hear that there are people who are like this. Like there are people who actually believe this stuff, or there are people who actually ask this kind of questions. Like in the subhanallah, for most people, they are not afflicted by all these very strange diseases. There was one person that I knew, like that this person had a very, like, in a sense, and maybe this person watches too many video games or plays too many video games, or watches too many movies. This person was completely convinced, and you cannot convince him otherwise. He was completely convinced that he was in the Matrix. He's in a matrix. Allah, and this is real. There's a real story. This is a real person in Singapore. Like it is so crazy. Like so crazy. They are convinced. Like they're in some simulation, and they're in some, and you know what? MashaAllah, the amazing thing is that our scholars discuss this. Our scholars actually address these people. Like that, and so mashallah, higher Bisnakina, right? This is probably the highest book that in Darul Zahra. There is a higher book after this book, right? But for most people, they count to this book, Aqidul Islam, and that is good enough. And that is good enough, and you stay there. Right? And you don't go into higher and deeper mas'ala in aqidah that could really be very troubling, right, for a common person. It's meant for scholars, or those who are into the religion to study, to help specific people who are afflicted, right, by these, very strange ideologies that is out there. And you'd be amazed, right? You'd be amazed, just bewildered. There are people who do that. But subhanAllah, in our zaman right now, in our time in Akhidah, I will definitely be bringing in a lot of tahawalat. Uh, don't think that I won't. I can't teach Akida without bringing a lot of tahawalat. Because a lot of it is being placed at stake right now in our zaman, and being attacked in our zaman. Right. So even like right now, I'm even seeing Muslims using this term using this term whereby they refer to the universe. Even Muslims do that. Or the universe will help you. The universe will make things better. The universe will. Have you ever heard of that before? It's so widespread nowadays. Do you know it's like the new culture? I don't know. Am I the only one who like meets up all this stuff? But it's a new culture, and it's spreading very fast amongst our youth. Like using the word universe in the place of the word God. Like so instead of saying God does this, God does that, Allah does it, Allah does that, does this, and they say the word universe. And that is just the way of the atheists. Because they refuse to admit that there is a God. But they want to speak about a higher power. But they don't want to speak about God. So what do? They are worshipping the universe. So so ridiculous. I mean, this is what they're doing, right? So ridiculous, ya Allah. But if you are this is, I don't know if you've been hearing it, but subhanallah, it is a growing trend. It's a growing trend, yes, and it is alarming. And what is even more alarming is that believers in God, or believers in God, not just the Muslims but Christians and other religions. You're supposed to have God by you. You're supposed to believe in God. Christians, they're supposed to be calling on Jesus if they're truly Christian, right? I mean, if they're truly Christian, you're calling on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. right? But I mean, subhanallah, even Christians are falling into it, Muslims are falling into it, using the word, oh, the universe is fair. The universe is not powerful. Come on, the universe is a creation. Right, subhanallah. But they're replacing the word God with universe. Because, and this is the irony of it all, because they actually recognize there is a God, but they don't want to admit it. They don't want to admit that there's a God. So they refuse to call this great power they know exists God. So they call it universe. It's ridiculous. And it's actually a proof against them that they have invented this entire culture now, calling all of this, like the power of the universe, the justice of the universe, right? The mercy of the universe, the justice of the universe, all kinds of things about the universe. It's as if they have, in a sense, recognized that there is a greater power, but they just can't give in. They just cannot kalah. They just can't give in. They cannot admit that they've been wrong all this while, and there is a God. Right? So they're recognizing by definition there's a God, but they just cannot bring themselves to say it. So therefore, what do? Change the terminology. But it's God, one God. It's only God. Not the universe, is God. Right? But I'm finding it amusing. I find it amusing. Something amusing, grieving, yes, grievous, yes. That, subhanAllah, this is atheist world, they have finally recognized that they are wrong. And there is a God. But they just cannot break their ego to say that there is God. And so what they're recognizing, they're gonna insist on calling it universe. But essentially, they are admitting there's a God. Do you get it? Do you get what I'm saying? Essentially, they are admitting that there is a God. There's someone, who doesn't want to admit someone helped them, right? So, like, for example, you have a friend that, or someone that, who helped you a lot, when maybe that he has something against that person, Allahu Alam. And you don't want to say that you were helped by that individual, but you keep saying, oh, a beautiful soul, a good person, somebody help me, somebody help me, without saying the name of the person. It's like the kind of very strange thing going on, like that, because you don't want to admit it that this person actually helped you. So you just say somebody, 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 somebody. But yeah, this atheist world has now come to the conclusion, right, that there is a greater power out there that you can depend on and you can call on, right? And so therefore they will say, right, oh, the universe, call on to the universe, trust the universe, just put it out there to the universe. The universe will handle it. The universe, oh, because they have recognized God. They have recognized God, right? But they refuse to admit it. Oh, it's in their face. Right? Subhanallah. Yeah, I'm putting my book, okay? Bismillah. Okay, but Aqidah, mashallah, Aqidah is like the most refreshing thing to study. Okay, but first and foremost, we are going through Imam Al-Haddad. I'm going to speak about Imam Al-Haddad today, because he is Sahib al-Kitab. He is the one who wrote this book, and may Allah reward Imam Al-Haddad greatly on our behalf. Ya Imam, Qutbul Irshad wa Qutbul Da'wah wal Irshad, Imam Al-Haddad. Right, so he is a mujaddid. So I'm just going to read from the text here, and I will translate as I go along. It's a bit of a long tarjama, or it's not that long actually. The mu'allif but then it's not that long actually. Right? But I will just pick out certain points because I don't think I can finish the entire thing in 45 minutes. But I want to do Imam al-Hadad by today. Right, so we will finish speaking about Imam al-Hadad by today. Then tomorrow I will enter into the book itself. Okay, tamam. So then I'll give you a homework because I've been giving the other class homework, the year four students homework. So you all also have homework. Okay, what is your homework? I'm gonna give you a homework. What is your homework? Find out something interesting about Imam Al-Haddad that you can share with us that I don't know. No, okay, maybe I might know about it. Like, but find out interesting information about Imam Al-Haddad to find out, I mean, there's a lot of resources out there. You can read about Imam al-Haddad. There are books you can read about him in English, in the Malay language. You can find out about al-Haddad. Any information you can find out, right? And then share it on the group. Okay, I want to see how much you all can find out about Imam al-Haddad. That is your homework. Okay. So remember, okay, I had to get the year four students to write down their homework because yesterday they forgot their homework. I gave them homework and they forgot their homework. Right, so today I put on the WhatsApp group. So you all put on the WhatsApp group homework. Find out. Everybody must find out one thing about Imam Al Haddad. Okay, something new, preferably. But if not, any just share with us any stories you have heard, about the great Imam. So Imam Al Haddad نسبه هو الإمام العلامة الداعي إلى الله بقوله وفعله. He is the great Imam, the great scholar. Allama. Allama is an Arabic way of saying, is a way in the Arabic language is balagha. And we say علامة الأمة. And like for example, the great scholar, al-allama. So alim is scholar, allama, great scholar. Okay, so you find this word is used for Habib Umar. العلامة الحبيب عمر بن محمد بن سليم الحفيظ العلامة. Right, so it is a مبالغة form. It is an exaggerated form as compared to alim. So علامة, right, they have encompassed so much knowledge. It is of Imam Al-Haddad. Should I tell you all more stories so you can? Yeah, I'll tell you all stories now, inshallah. So that then you do your homework, you cannot find anything else to say. Like, no, I'm just joking. Like, but you can put my stories as well. Okay, if I tell you stories so Imam Al Haddad, that's like part of your homework. You did research and your research came from me. Okay, so anyway, Imam Al Haddad, I'll just tell you stories now. Okay, Imam Al Haddad, he's Allama. Because you know why, subhanAllah, Imam Al Haddad, we know that he was blind, he became blind by the age of 4 because of an illness. Right. And there were people in his zaman who were doubting him. Like they doubted the greatness of the knowledge of Imam al-Haddad. If I go into Imam al-Haddad, Ya Allah, it will take me a few lessons to get through Imam al-Haddad stories. Right. So I'm just gonna give myself 45 minutes, and then the rest of it's on you all to go and find out about Imam al-Haddad. Okay. I share about him all the time. Whenever I take any book about Imam al-Haddad, I will share about him. Right. So and different books I will share different stories about Imam al-Haddad. This story is about the word Allama. Right. So he's a great scholar. Right, a great scholar, a mufti in his right, and he gained a very high level of knowledge by in his 20s or before his 20s, and their teens, by their 20s, he has exhausted by his 20s, right? He has exhausted studying, and this was fully studied. Every scholar in his vicinity, that was living on the face of the earth, right? By his 20s. He finished studying everybody. He finished. He didn't take all the knowledge. He was done. So what did he do? He went to the barzakh. He went not to the barzakh, but he went to the grave, to the Zambal, the graves, that's the Zambal. And he was studying from the people of barzakh because he had finished studying from everybody on the land. So then he goes to the people in the ground, right? And he was studying from them. So he's of his mashayikh, you see, al-faqih al-muqaddam, of his mashayikh, Sheikh Rahman al-Sittaf, of his mashayikh, that they were in the barzakh and they were teaching him, right? Because people on the land, he had already, he had gone past them in his level by his 20s. He has gone past them. Imam al-Haddad. It's a great, mashallah, great Imam. But anyway, there was a story whereby Imam al-Haddad had traveled, like gone to Haramain, if I'm not wrong. Right. And there were people there who were looking down on the great Imam. Because he was very humble. And that's what they like. They don't like to be known. They like to just keep, quiet about stuff. Right. But mashallah, their knowledge is so high and so great. The thing about Hadrami is like, about the Dawra, right? The Dawra, I will, praise the Hadramis and the Habaib how much I want. In my normal classes, I kind of hold back, like because I don't know who's my crowd. But Daura, if you come for a Daura, you have come to Tarim. Welcome to Tarim. You have come to Tarim. And therefore, people in Tarim, we don't hold back when we speak about our people. He will speak about them however much he wants. And he will praise them, and he will, like you can say, that we are so biased towards them, but no, they are great people, mashallah. Right, so, mashallah, so in the people of Tarim, right, they are such that they're so high in their knowledge, but because they are so humble, they're so humble, and they will study simple books over and over and over and over again. And I've seen this so many times, and this is something that I myself go through here in Tarim. You come to Tarim, you're put down to the first book, No matter how high you have studied in your countries, does not matter. You come to Tarim, they put you right down. Zakhira Musharafa. Come, Zakhira Musharafa. Right, they put you right down. No, it's not down, it's up, yani. Right, but it's they put you on the most simple books. Right. So and I met someone recently, she was doing Daura, and she was like, I've taken all these books in my hometown, this book and that book and this book and that book, and like big book she has done. So she was like, the Daura is too simple, it's too easy, it's too okay, fine, marhaba, ahlan wa sahlan. And she wanted to do something bigger and something, more. And I said to her, but the thing about it is that she was asking me the same time she was asking me questions that were very basic, like very, very basic questions. But and I see the secret in the way of people of Tarim is that they keep the simple books. They won't go to like big, thick texts. But I know people around the world they do that, and they don't, and they're not, fluent in what they know. They don't know their fiqh properly. They don't know their aqidah properly. They have taken big, big texts. Oh, subhanallah, tabarakallah, mashallah. But they have not learned, the basics well. They've not done that. This is the calamity of education system of our time. It's a calamity. Right. So this is the thing I love about Tarim and the Tarimis. Right. They are great allama, they are great scholars. But whenever they go and you ask them, can you teach us? They will say, okay, Risal Jamia, come on, Risala. Or they might do Safina like 10 times. Safina. They won't go to like big books like Umda or like, Manhaj or, like big, big books. They won't do that. They won't do that. They keep to something simple, right? Why? Because there is blessing in what is simple, and that most people don't get what is simple. Most people have not understood what is simple, and they think they have understood, right? The books that we study here, our teachers have studied them and taught them more than 10, 20 times. Right? We do it one time and you're like, okay, I know this book. Oh no, you do not know the book. You do not know the book. Like, subhanAllah. So anyway, Imam al-Haddad, and this is the way they are in Tarif, like they're very humble. They have memorized Quran, they have memorized so many books, they are scholars in their own right. So he went to the Haramin, and there were people there, who wanted to test him. In the sense they wanted to humiliate him in some way to show that, oh, this is all this imam has from Hadramaut, they're very simple, they're simpletons. They're not, great ulama, great. They were trying to do that, and so what they did was that they brought the imam forward, and they said the imam, because the imam was saying to them, you're getting the ta'wil or the interpretation of the verse is wrong. And so they were offended. They were offended. And ya Allah, Alhamdulillah. They were offended by Imam Al-Haddad correcting them. And then so they said, what do you know about tafsir? Huh? What do you know about tafsir? You're just a simple, simple, person from Hadramaut. You're nobody. And Imam Al-Haddad said, you can ask me what you want to know about tafsir. Ask. And so they picked up a random verse of the Quran, and they said, give us the commentary on this verse. And Imam al-Haddad said, do you want tafsir Quran with Quran? Or you want tafsir Quran with hadith? Or you want tafsir Quran with the words of the righteous scholars? Or you want tafsir Quran with the language? Or you want tafsir of the Quran with balagha? Or you want tafsir of the Quran? He went on and on of different ways he could do tafsir. And then he gave them every single one from his heart, from his heart. So with regards to this verse, okay, all of these other verses, and he's going to put all the other verses in the Quran, there is commentary on that verse. So the Quran, tafsir Quran with Quran. And that's one of the most hardest ways of tafsir, to tafsir Quran with Quran. To get Quran to tafsir Quran. And subhanAllah, he began doing that. And then he said, okay, then once he had done that, and they were amazed, and then he said, okay, come, okay, all of the hadith that has to do with this verse. And he pulled out so many hadith. And he commented on the verse with all the words of the Prophet. Okay, done with that. And it took a long time. And then, okay, come. Now, all of what the Mufassirun, the scholars of the past, have said, the great Imams, Imam Shafi'i, Imam Ahmad, the great Imams, and their commentary on that verse. And he went on and on and on, and the people were all just dumbfounded. They were like, subhanAllah. They could not compete with Imam al-Haddad. Think about the scholars here in Tarim. They keep to what is very simple, but they are oceans. They are oceans in themselves, but they will only show you a cup of what they have. And so people think, oh, he's not that much. He's just not a normal guy, not a real, like big alim. Right? They don't really show much. But if you want to really know, or when you hear what they say, or then you realize they have taken a lot and they know a lot and they implement all they know. And that's the secret of them. نعم to go faster with the word alama ni. Alama الداعي إلى الله. الداعي the caller to Allah. Imam al-Haddad. Imam al-Haddad. See, everyone has a story, right? Bismillah. Ya Allah. Must just faster. Okay, Imam al-Haddad. I can't even resist the story of this thing. Right, Imam al-Haddad. داعي إلى Allah is a story, mashallah, about him. Whereby he's so humble, Imam al-Haddad. He's so humble. But he's alama. He gains like he encompassed all the knowledge, but then he was in his 20s, khalas, mashallah. And thereafter what, right? Thereafter what? Subhanallah. So Imam al-Haddad, he Allah continued giving him knowledge from himself, and he was also studying from those in the barzakh and in the graves, right? But he did not do da'wah yet. Right? He did not do da'wah yet because like he felt unfit for da'wah. Right. So his teacher, Al-Faqih al-Muqaddam, who is in the grave, right, he's passed away a long time ago, right? Al-Faqih al-Muqaddam, his teacher, right, during one of the sessions at the bazaar, right, says to Imam al-Haddad, "Ya my son al-Haddad, it's time for you to teach. It's time for you to stand in front of the people and begin teaching." And the thing about it was that the people, they were looking down on him because he was a blind man who did not really, show of himself what he had. Right. But mashallah, there were people who would come to Tarim specifically to look for Imam al-Haddad because they were told by Rasulullah SAW of the great standing of his grandson al-Haddad. Mashallah. Right, so anyway, so al-Faqih told Imam al-Haddad to go start teaching. And so Imam al-Haddad, he was going to obey, he was going to obey, but he kind of like procrastinated about it, trying to gain his confidence, gain his, mashallah. And so after a while, like he had a dream, and the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to him and said to him, "Oh yeah, Al-Haddad, my son, it's time for you to teach." And so he woke up, and the very next day he can teach. And the following night, he had a dream was Faqih. And Al Faqih said to him, "Ya Al Haddad, you had to wait for the Prophet to tell you to go and start teaching like before you began teaching. And I told you to teach a long time ago. And then you had to wait for Rasulullah to come and tell you. Then you begin teaching." Subhanallah. When he was just joking, it's like saying in a way, like, teasing the Imam. But mashallah, he's da'in Allah. داعي إلى الله بأفعاله وأقواله وكتبه. Imam al-Haddad, his secrets are in, subhanAllah, is a lot in his books, in his diwan, in his poetry. Right? He has an entire collection of poetry. And then we do recite as well some of the more famous ones, لقد كفاني, that we recite in the mornings. Right? These are all from Imam al-Haddad. Right? So and his secrets are there. His secrets are there. So in his lifetime, he was not, that well known in his lifetime, and that was how he liked it. He liked being that way. And inshallah, if you all come to Tarim, you go to his house. It's all preserved. His house, his, the way he used to teach, his bedroom, his guest room, and so on. The original size of his mosque and so on. You go to they do preserve, the relics, like, of Imam al-Haddad in the house of Imam al-Haddad. And he's a very recent scholar. He passed away about 400 years ago, very recent, compared to other scholars. Um, now, right. So Imam al-Haddad never likes to be known. Like, he never liked to be known. Right. But after his death, like, his book spread far and wide till today. Right. He is the one, you will say, he is the one Hadrami scholar, like the one scholar from Hadramaut, whose name has spread far and wide into so many lands and so many societies that people who don't even know about Tarim and Hadramaut, they know the Book of Assistance, for example. And they know of the books of Imam al-Haddad, right? He's the one scholar. Like the other scholars in Tarim, right? Only when you come here, you can, or you meet with the people here, or you mix with the students who have come here, like us in the Daura, then you kind of know about them. Like you know about Al-Faqih Muqaddam because you hear from us. Like you know about Sheikh Rahman Sakaf because you hear from us. But in a sense, before getting in contact with people of Tarim, you won't really know the other scholars in Tarim, right? But the one scholar who is known worldwide by his books from people of many different backgrounds is Imam Al-Haddad. He's da'i ila Allah. His kutub al-da'wah wal-irshad, Imam Al-Haddad. Right, so his popularity, boomed after his death, and that was how he liked it. And that was how he liked it. His secrets are in his books, they are in his poetry. Like it's still so much so that his poetry has so much though. So there's Zainab spoke about Dhok, right? His poetry has so much tasting, Imam al-Haddad, right? That it is said that whenever anyone will pass away and they enter into the barzakh, the people of the barzakh will ask them, have you memorized any of the poetry of Imam al-Haddad? Tell us. Because they have desire to hear the poetry of Imam al-Haddad. تمام. إلى الله بقوله وفعله. So he's someone who embodies the da'wah to Allah, who embodies the message from the Prophet ﷺ from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through the Prophet to humanity. قطب الإرشاد الحبيب عبد الله بن علوي بن محمد بن أحمد بن عبد الله بن محمد الحداد بن علوي بن أحمد بن أبي بكر بن أحمد بن محمد بن عبد الله بن أحمد بن عبد الرحمن بن علوي بن محمد صاحب مرباط بن علي بن علوي خالد قسم بن محمد بن علوي صاحب سومعة بن عبيد الله بن المهاجر إلى الله أحمد بن عيسى بن محمد بن علي العريدي بن جعفر الصادق بن محمد الباقر بن علي زين العابدين بن حسين بن سيدنا علي بن أبي طالب وسيدة فاطمة الزهراء بنت Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wa alihi wa sahbihi wasallam, and you have the nasab of Imam Al-Haddad. Tamam. He was born in a town that was just off of Tarim, right? Subir, right? That is just, the outskirts of Tarim in the year 1044. So it's exactly 400 years, eh? Yeah, 1445 right now. Like we're 1445. Right? So it's exactly 400 years from our time right now. Right. And when he was 4 years old, he was afflicted by an illness. And during this illness, his uncle, Khal, his mother's brother, who was a wali majzub. Like a wali majzub is, if you've been here before in my kids' class, it's like bahlul. Like they are wali majzub. Like wali majzub means that they are awliya, but they are hidden, yes, and they do very strange things, right? So they are like what you say, because the awliya, right, they are comparable in our understanding of the awliya can be compared to our understanding of the prophets of the Anbiya. Of course, the awliya, the saints, right? They are not prophets. Of course, they are not. And the last prophet is Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? But you see, our understanding of the awliya is parallel to our understanding of the Anbiya. What do I mean? First thing first, there are some prophets that are well known, right? They are baris, they are well known. They are called rusul. The Rasul, and we'll learn about it in Aqidah. They are the well-known prophets, the popular prophets, right? And they have to be well-known because they have to guide people. They have to lead people on the path, right? So the awliya of this ummah, they inherit the prophets. So there are of the awliya, of the saints of Islam, that they are baris, that they are well known. They are in front of the people, they are leading the people, like they are. So they've inherited the role of prophets, only that they did not receive revelation. There's a difference, okay? They don't receive revelation, but they get ilham. Yes, they get inspiration, but they have the same roles in a sense. They are the people who lead human beings to the path of righteousness. They are not infallible like prophets. And it means they are. It is possible they fall into sin, but the way what they would call a sin to us, we will just dismiss it. We would call it. We will not even consider it as to be sins, right? So while there are prophets that are like that, well-known prophets, they are called rusul. They are awliya, they are called mashhur, they are well-known. Prophets have mu'jizat, they have miracles. The awliya, they have karamat, they have also miracles, but it's called karamat. The prophets, they are also hidden prophets. They're called anbiya. And so those prophets are Anbiya that are not Rusul, right? They get revelation, but they can be hidden. Then there are also the awliya that do exist. They get inspiration, not revelation, but inspiration, and they exist, but they are hidden. Then you also have prophets, but of course this is a khilaf. I have prophets that do strange things. Like who? Nabi Khidr, right? Nabi Khidr, there were a few of them actually. They were given instruction from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do what they do. So Nabi Khidr, very famous story in Surah Kafi, which can't be denied, where in Surah Kafi, Nabi Khidr was going around and he was doing stuff and Nabi Musa did not understand. Right? Nabi Musa was someone of, was a popular prophet of outward, information, whereas or knowledge. Whereas Nabi Khidr, he was a hidden prophet, and he was given knowledge, but it was something that was hidden. So in a similar line, there are awliya who are like that. They do strange things, but they are commanded. They are commanded. They do strange things, but they are commanded, and they are called majzub. Right? They are called majzub. Right? So Imam al-Hada's uncle was one of them. His uncle was one of them. Wali, like Wali Majzub. Right? So similar, like in a way to understand what is a Wali Majzub is how you understand Nabi Khadr. Right? They do stuff, right? That could be, perceived as strange or even wrong. Like how Nabi Musa perceived what Nabi Khadr did to be wrong. Right? Subhanallah. And that is why Nabi Musa, after the second story, the second incident, Nabi Khadr at first he broke the boat, like the story of in this Rakafi. He broke the boat. And Nabi Musa, he was shocked by what Nabi Khidr did. And he kind of, responded. And then Nabi Khidr, said to him, you said that you were going to follow me and not ask any questions. So Nabi Musa, he backtracked. The second one was too much for Nabi Musa alayhi salam, because Nabi Khidr killed the boy. And that was too much for Nabi Musa alayhi salam. The first one, yes, you break the boat, it can be fixed, it's not a big deal. Like it's not really that damaging, you can break the boat and they're gonna fix it on anyway. Right? Oh, but you killed the boy? Nabi Khidr, he went past the boy, he killed the boy. But it's not sinful because he was commanded, right? Not sinful, because he was commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Nabi Musa at that point, when he had an outburst and he responded to what Nabi Khidr had done, Nabi Khidr said, didn't you say, right, that didn't I say to you to not ask many questions? And so Nabi Musa, which is why Nabi Musa disposed to Nabi Khidr, if I do a next outburst on you, right, then do not keep my company. Because at this point, Nabi Musa is recognizing that he might not be able to take this, to take what's going on with this body, with this prophet, that, and what he's doing, that is beyond what we can understand. But of course, Nabi Khidr, he explained thereafter, right, why he did what he did. There was one time I was at one of my students' house years ago when I was still doing tuition in Singapore. And I had a student who was in international school, right? And I was teaching my student, physics, so physics, chemistry, right, mathematics. But they had this international religions, textbook that he had on his table. So I said to him, I want to look through your book, okay? I want to see what's in your book, right? So he allowed me. So I looked through the book, International Religions. And so of course I flipped to Islam lah. I'm not interested in anything else. Right? So I went to flip to Islam. And as they were trying, like there was an entire chapter on Islam, like, and they were explaining the six pillars of Iman, right? And they were explaining the qada and the qadar. So these are both written by non-Muslims. Right? For the syllabus in international schools, syllabus about world religions, right? And the part about qada and qadar, they quoted the story of Nabi Khidr and Nabi Musa alayhi salam. They quoted, but they skipped the center part about the boy. Then Nabi Khidr killed the boy. I think they themselves could not wrap their minds around it. So I read the story. The story was there in the book, became more interesting for children, right? Right. So the story was there in the book, and so the decree of the Muslims believe in the decree of God, right? And that God only wants good, right? And then God has decreed what is good. And there's a story between two, of the Muslim prophets. They were saying that, Khidr and Moses, right? Whereby he broke the boat. And why did he do that? Because there was a king that was coming from behind who was stealing all the boats, right? And then he built a wall. Yes, he built a wall. What about the boy in between? They skipped the boy. they could not wrap their minds around it. They could not wrap their minds around the boy story. They skipped the boy story. When they went to the town and the people were mean to them as they were leaving the town, they built a wall that was falling. And later, Khidr explained that below that wall there was treasure, right, for the orphan boys that lived in that town. And these people in the town, because they were bad people, they would have taken that treasure. So in a sense, they cannot understand the middle story. The Nabi killed the boy. And why did he kill the boy? Because the boy would grow up to be a kafir and he'll be a great fitna on his parents, dragging his parents into kufr. Right? And that Allah will replace the boy with a righteous daughter that will come later on. And from this righteous daughter, she gave birth to, I can't remember right now, but a number of prophets. Because I'm Muslim, right? That from the progeny of this daughter, came a number of prophets. The blessing there. And of course, in Islam, it's a big picture, right? But mashallah, it's interesting why they skip. They themselves don't know how to explain to children what happened in the second story. So you kind of skipped it, subhanAllah. So anyway, Wali Mazuk, Imam al-Haddad's uncle, right? So what he did was that he just threw hot oil on Imam al-Haddad while Imam al-Haddad was 4 years old and had very high fever, right? And in throwing this hot oil, for somehow the disease went to the eyes of Imam al-Haddad. The disease went to Imam al-Haddad's eyes, ya Allah, and it made him blind, right? And so his mother was so distraught by what happened. She took Imam al-Haddad. I'm telling all stories that I only say to people in Tarim. Usually I don't say this online, right? But we're in the Dawra, alhamdulillah. Right, so she took Imam al-Haddad, to Al-Habib Abdullah al-Darus. Habib Abdullah al-Darus is not alive. He's in his grave. Okay? Basically, she went to Zambal. She went to Zambal, the graveyard here in Tarim, and she went to the grave of Habib Abdullah al-Darus. His grave is the grave right before you go to Imam al-Haddad. So if you know Zambal, inshallah, we will bring you all on a virtual tour of Zambal. Right, you will go through Al Muqaddam, you will come to Sheikh Abdurrahman Saqaf, and you will come to Imam Umar Mahdar. Then you will come to Al Habib Al Azam, Al Imam Al Azam, Al Habib Abdullah Al Idrus, Sultan Al Ulama. Tamam. Okay, so she brought the young blind Imam Al Haddad there, right? And she said to the Habib, "Oh Habib, is there any goodness in my son that now he's blind? I had intended for him to be someone to carry the religion and spread it far and wide. So is there any goodness in him right now?" And Imam Abdullah al-Darus, like he came out of his grave. Sorry, yeah. In some narrations, they say that his hand came out. Like no, the real story is that he came out. She came out. He came out of his grave and he stood in front of her and then he held the head of Imam al-Haddad on the head of Imam al-Haddad and he said that your child will be a great da'i. He will be a great da'i, a qutb of the zaman. Qutb is the highest ranking awliya, highest ranking. The qutb of the zaman, a great da'i. Right? So she felt comforted by what he said, and then she, placed him on the path of seeking knowledge. Okay, did not go through very much in the text itself. Right? So now you can go and do your own research. You can find out more about Imam Haddad. And then put in your homework, inshallah, and share with us what you know about Imam al-Haddad. Right, so here you have his education, his nurturing, his upbringing. Then there is about his positions, amongst the people, his manaqib, right? And then his mashayikh, his students, his writings, he has many writings. Then the aqidah. Okay, the aqidah of Imam al-Haddad, I will have to explain to you all tomorrow. This is very important, okay? Because we must know what is Imam al-Haddad's aqidah, right? There is the aqidah of the Salaf, there is the aqidah of the Khalaf. And I will explain this to you all. As I mentioned, this book is a little bit higher than than your basic aqidah books, right? We will go into important mas'ala. Okay? Right. So focus and pay attention. Inshallah. Barakallahu fikum. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. Are there any questions? Oh, there are questions. Hi, girls in the chat. the chat. نعم. Again, any questions? Any questions? If there are no questions, we will take our we will break here, inshallah. You can tune into Dars Fajr on Hamid is going through very good stuff, mashallah. Yesterday he went through the benefits, all the benefits of reciting Surah Ayatul Kursi after every prayer. If you're learning some Arabic, get yourself to get used to it, okay? Like here, Habib, he's hard. He's hard. You can get it, gotta just force yourself. Okay. So that's for you right now. The topics are very nice and easy. So he's talking about, yeah, he's talking about adequacy, the benefits of adequacy. Inshallah, we plan to write down gems and to share the gems from Das Fajr. But if you all can listen to it, okay? Put it on, try your best, listen, make intentions. Allah gives you openings in the Arabic language, inshallah. Barakallahu fikum. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة. أن الله يرزقنا منافع وعملا خاص وإلى أرواح معاني من مشايخنا وذكرهم إلى حضرة النبي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. الفاتحة. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.